Ugh. My hair looks gross. Ugh. Oh wait! I forgot! I'm such a bad liar. I realized this before I started filming, that my hair looks gross, so it gives me an excuse to wear this awesome new hat. If you can't see that, it's zebra stripes with ears. And if I ever go famous, then this will be my trademark. No, this is the wrong way. Yeah, the ears are right here. I really should wear this. Hope it's not too distracting. Just my sexiness is not too distracting. So if you don't know me, you don't know that I love to read. Except now you do know that I love to read. Consequently, I read like 6 books this summer. This is gonna be like book club episode, the one and only. So I'm going to show you this huge stack of books that I read this summer. Some of you might think, oh my god, that's so many books, and some of you might think, oh my god, that's like no books. I'm gonna go in order. First book I read, summer reading book number 1, but I was smart enough to ask my teacher if I could not read books from the god-awful list that they have. The first one I read was Angels and Demons. Before I started reading, or after I started reading a little bit, I checked Goodreads.com, and they were insanely bipolar on there, because 50% of the book reviews was like, oh my god, this is like the most amazing book I've ever read. And 50% of them were like, oh my god, this book was so awful. But all the bad ones were like, he's a bad writer, this is so far-fetched, I mean, how do you... Spoilers. Just warning you if you've never read any of these books. How do you fall from a helicopter from that high and live, even with the things that he had? And I was like, well, it's suspension of disbelief. I mean, it's not supposed to be extremely realistic. With the fact that he landed in water, plus he had that little yard parachute, and the fact that it was basically a miracle. Like, even in the book, they were like, how could he live through this? As far as my thoughts on it, I thought this was so awesome. Not my favorite book ever, but it was really good. Ridiculously long. How many pages is this? Like 600? 700 actually. But I think he should be a teen writer. Alright, maybe he has some stories that he wanted to write that were kind of not very teen-like, but just how he writes is sort of teen-like. Like, it's not ridiculously low level, but it's not how I pictured an adult book would be, because I haven't read many adult books before. Most of the stuff I read is teen fiction. Gotta stop cracking your knuckles, Nat. But that's a good thing, because to me it just read very well. I didn't have to stop and pause and go, what? It just it flowed well. It read well. Also, I thought the story was really interesting. Like, the fact, I still don't know who the Illuminati leader was. Was it the Pope's Chamberlain? Was it Dr. Kohler? I don't know, because they kind of said yes to both at the end. But I loved their backstories. Like how the Pope's Chamberlain was so religious because his mom died in a freak accident and he lived through it. But also the same as with Dr. Kohler, where he could have died because his parents were so religious and they said, if you are meant to live, you will live. And the scientist came and gave him this, and he lived. And that's what made them so against each other. Read well, I give it 2 thumbs up. Two thumbs up. Next book. I wish I could say the same for this next book, because the next one I read was That Summer by Sarah Dessen. And I have this system for reading my books. That's like, the books in my room are old and I need to read them, and every time I take a book off the shelf in my room, I'll replace it with one from downstairs, which is like newer books. But in the summer, I just kind of throw that out the window. I'm like, screw that, it's summer, I should read what I want. So I chose this from the shelf downstairs. I thought, Sarah Dessen, never read anything by her. She's supposed to write like these teen-lovey romances. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It's a summery book that summer. And it wasn't. It was bad. I didn't like it at all. Because it's not a mushy teen romance. It's just this girl complaining about how she's tall and how her dad's getting married, and about how her sister's getting married, and about how she misses her sister's old boyfriend. And it's just a book of a teenager complaining. It was boring. There wasn't much going on. I don't know, I just didn't like it. So I don't have as much to say about that one. Next one, I started one of these books first and then kind of stopped because I was going on vacation and it's kind of big, and started another one. So I'll do that one first. And this one is Paper Towns. Finally get to read this baby. John Green. I know what all the fuss is about now because he is awesome and an awesome writer. So I really liked this book a lot. It was funny. It had its like inspirational moments. I liked Q a lot. I thought he was really cool. I thought Margot was really cool. But there's one thing I didn't like so much was the ending. Like there was so many questions that were kind of just let go about her. Like he had all these questions about how she was such an enigma. It was just sort of let go. And to be honest, the ending, I didn't expect it, but it made sense, because obviously if he went and found her and they stay together and live happily ever after, that's so predictable. Like that's what everybody wants to happen. But instead he goes to her and she does what you would expect her to do if you knew her. Could you come back with me? No. No, I didn't come all the way here to go back with you. Oh, okay. That's too bad. But, liked it a lot, because I read this in like a couple days. I just really liked it a lot. Awesome writing. There were a lot of parts that were really funny, and I could just skip to a page and read part from it, and it would be awesome. So the other one that I started was, there's not a cover on it because I like how it is without it, but it's called The New Policeman by Kate Thompson. This was my other summer reading book. Oh, this was one of the summer ones too. And this was the other summer reading book. And I thought it was good. I didn't think it was fantastic though. I liked the end a lot. How his grandfather and the new policeman and also Angus were all the same person. Because I was picturing each of them so differently, and then it turns out at the end that the new policeman came to JJ's house and he was like, Angus! And he was like, what were you saying? He was like, I said granddad. What'd you think I said? And I was like, oh my god, it so works! But the story, I didn't love. I found it kind of slow. It was good. It was all mystical and whatnot and stuff, and it took place in Ireland, which was pretty cool. But, you know, didn't love it. I mean, I'd give it 1 thumb up, but maybe not 2 thumbs up. Next book is The Last Olympian. Why did it have to end? Oh, I was so sad starting this book. I was just so sad. Because if any of you do know me, you know that every year when I'm the same age as the characters, I will read one. I started this when I was 12, and then I read the next one when I was 13, summer after when I was 13, and then I read the next one, winter break when I was 13, and then last summer I read Battle of the Labyrinth, and now I read this one, and he's old. Okay, sorry, how are you going into sophomore year as already 16? It doesn't work. But I was so sad when this ended. I was so sad, because I love this book series. I didn't fall in love with Harry Potter. I haven't read The Hunger Games yet. I love this series. Well, actually, I didn't read Harry Potter yet, but I saw the movies. I know, big faux pas, but that's how it worked out. Like, I fell in love with this series. I just love it so much. I can't believe Percy and Annabeth ended up together. I was like, that's so predictable. Like, that's what everyone, oh, main character, boy character, girl character, now kiss. But they did, and it worked. It wasn't dissatisfying. It just worked. And also, one problem is, even though it's awesome that I live near New York, and I've been to New York a million times, my dad works in New York, I know what it looks like, but this whole battle took place in New York, and I was like, I can't picture any of these places. But I managed. So good. It was so good. It was so good. Everything worked. Oh, everyone is a badass. Oh, one thing. I got all nostalgic a little bit, just about from the beginning book, because he would be mentioning like, oh, I can remember when I was 12 and the first time I went in the attic and saw the oracle, and I was picturing him actually walking up the stairs, and then like an image of 12-year-old him walking up the same stairs. I was like, oh, it's like a movie. They could have made the movie so much better. But the way I heard about this was that my new... I'll tell you this later, whatever. Last book I read is one called Smiles to Go, and I thought, I really liked this. I didn't expect to like this as much as I did, but I just really liked it, considering there wasn't even much going on. Kind of like that summer, except he wasn't complaining. He was just describing. It was just a guy my age talking about his friends and his sister and how the proton died and all his stuff that he felt about his friend. What's her name? Misu? They never said she was Asian, but everyone who ever read this book was picturing an Asian girl, because whose name is Misu. But she sounded adorable. She just sounded so cute. Forgot his name for a second. But I just really liked Will, because we seemed to have the same personality. I just liked him. I just liked him a lot. And I finished this book in like 2 days. It's like I was expecting to take longer for this. But I didn't, because I just really liked this. Alright, so summer's over. As you can see, I'm wearing long pants. That means summer's over. That's it. Tell me what books you read, or if you like reading, or if you like my hat, or if you like my new shirt. New YouTube shirt! I am a dinosaur! Dan is not on fire! Current favorite YouTuber. How he has his llama hat. I want this to be my llama hat. Because I want, if I ever get famous, I want this to be my hat. But I love him now. I told my friend, I have a Tumblr. If you have Tumblr, follow The Real Derpina with dashes in between. So I said to my friend, I'm getting a Dan is Not on Fire shirt, and she was like, is that guy that you keep reblogging all the time on Tumblr? I was like, yes. She was like, he's hot. I was like, yes, he is. I got my friend Anna into Dan is Not on Fire and Amazing Phil and British YouTubers in general. So when I wore the shirt today, I was like, oh my god, Anna, I want Dan is Not on Fire. She was like, oh my god, I want that shirt. Yeah, this is how we talk. Oh my god. No special earring, no new special earrings anyway, cupcake ones again. By the way, this shirt is like a dress on me. It's down past my butt, well past my butt. But it's awesome because Dan. So yeah. No more hood. By the way, I hope none of you noticed how awful this room looks. Because it looks like a mob scene.